What is up, everyone? Crunchy Frog here, and the final season for Modern Warfare 3 is finally upon us with Season 6. And this time, everything is themed around Halloween, and the season itself is even named The Haunting. So, as is traditional fashion here on the channel, we are going to go through the blog posts that Call of Duty posted and basically go through and cover all the major things coming to multiplayer. Now, as always, I do not cover very much Warzone content at all here on the channel because I don't play it, and there's not really much zombie content that they're added. They kind of finished that up last season. So really today we're going to be focusing almost solely on 6v6 multiplayer content for the last bit of content that we will receive for Modern Warfare 3. We are finally at the end of its life cycle. Here within a month or so we will be playing the brand new Call of Duty game with Call of Duty Black Ops 6. So yeah, stick around and I'll walk you through everything coming with the last bit of content, and as we see Modern Warfare 3 out the door. So if you enjoy content like this, make sure to leave a like as it helps others find the channel. If you'd like to see more videos like this, including videos of various news that's coming to Call of Duty and stuff like that, gaming discussions, make sure to hit the subscribe button. And if you would like to support the channel monetarily, make sure to hit the join button below. You get to view all videos early and you get a cool badge down in the comment section, stuff like that. So yeah, with that all out of the way, let's get right into it. Now, obviously, the big thing that comes every season is they release a couple maps. Now, this season is a little light on new maps compared to the rest of the seasons that we've gotten. And there is only one brand new map, and that is Drive-Thru, which is a 6v6 map. It is brand new, and it is the last brand new map we will see in Modern Warfare 3. It's kind of horror themed. It's set at night, right? It's almost directly out of a horror movie. There's like a little diner that's clown themed, and there's like spooky haunted houses around. It looks really cool, to be honest, and I'll probably have maybe some private match gameplay of this in the background just to get a quick match for you guys for some content. So it looks really cool. I'm really excited to maybe play around with it and check it out. And yeah, that's the only new one that's coming to to the game. However, there is a bunch of variants and reskins coming with this season. The first of which is a horror slash kind of gore and blood themed Meat remake. So the map Meat, and it is called Mad Cow. Again, it's just kind of like the normal map, but slightly moodier, creepier atmosphere, and then it seems really gory everywhere. So not much to add there. There's also, and this has been kind of talked a lot about on Twitter and various other outlets, but there are count them, five new shipment variants that are coming this season, which is just a wild choice. I'm really not sure why. It seems like they just kind of threw caution to the wind and just had everyone on the team make their own different variant of shipment. So we'll give a quick rundown of all the variants coming. The first is called Arena Shipment, and that's just kind of like a paintball themed. It kind of seems like one of those type maps. It doesn't really look like Shipment all that much. It's almost a complete reskin. But again, it's still Shipment, so it is what it is. Next up is called Stay High, and this is kind of like a digitized version, kind of like people in the 90s and early 2000s, you know, kind of visualized cyberspace. And this kind of calls back to that Get High map that was unlocked via that limited time game mode a while back in Modern Warfare 3. So similar thing here, but this time it's the layout of Shipment. Next up is Bitmint, which is kind of the 8-bit like pixel voxel type art that you see in like Minecraft and other games like that. So it does look pretty cool. Again, COD tried the cell shading thing last season. Now they're doing like an 8-bit graphic style here just to see how it kind of meshes with the overall game. And I'm not a huge fan of it, but it does kind of look cool. So you'll have that to look forward to. Next up, and this is probably my favorite variant out of the five that they released, is Ghost Ship. And it's kind of a Halloween version of Shipment, same kind of mood and atmosphere as the new map Drive-Thru. It looks really cool just from the few screenshots that we have, and maybe I'll get some gameplay on this as well for you guys behind my commentary here. But it definitely fits the theme of the season and just Halloween in general. They say there's like, you could see a town in the background and stuff like that. There's like a satanic ritual and runes, glowing runes and stuff in the center. So it looks really cool. I'll have to play it to see just how different it is from normal Shipment, but definitely fits with the season. I think this one should have maybe been the only one that they included in this season, but it is what it is. And then finally, They did they did give us a sunny shipment, which to be honest, I don't know why it's here. It's literally just normal shipment, but like sunny out instead of like, evening and raining. And that kind of brings me to my next point about I really just wish that they would ditch these, turning these into new content, just turning the sun on, so to speak, for these maps and use a long development time like Black Ops 6 was supposedly had to build in a dynamic day, night, and weather cycle for all of these maps so that no two matches almost feel the same. Right, you could hop into a match of shipment one time and it's early morning with fog, and then the next time you play it, it could be evening with rain coming down, and then next time it's dead of night but a clear sky, stuff like that. I think that that would kind of eliminate the need for them to make all of these different variants and stuff, which admittedly would take content away from them, but I think it would just add so much depth and complexity to the game that games like Battlefield have kind of flirted with in the past and executed really well. And I think it's time for COD to finally do that so that we don't have to put stuff like sunny shipment onto a roadmap graphic and call it new content. It's just every map it would be a different variant like this. And kind of along that same line, I would like to see stuff like Ghost Ship, which is done very well and very keyed into the specific holiday or season or span of time that it is kind of themed after. I would like to see this kind of go forward, right? In winter we get the Christmas shipment, or Shipmas, I think they usually call it. Maybe during St. Patrick's Day, since COD usually likes to do like Shamrock and all that stuff, have a St. Patty's Day themed one and then a summer themed one. Stuff like that. I would like to see at least one map every COD game kind of be that seasonal one where we get three, four, maybe even five different seasonal variants. And possibly that we only play those seasonal variants, throughout the year instead of just the base map at a certain point. That would be really cool, and I hope that they keep doing this in going forward in future games. I really do think that there's no need for five versions of one map, and that kind of goes back to what I was saying about having just dynamic day and night cycle. I don't see a need for five different variants of shipment ever, but we do know, and I will be covering this in more depth and more detail later on in a different video, but Treyarch actually, the reason why there's only one new map here, Treyarch had to scrub at least one, maybe two maps from this season to use in their post-launch, seasonal offerings, because apparently they don't have enough right now, despite the 4-year development time. So that's kind of sketchy. I don't love to hear that. I wish Sledgehammer could have kept their maps and really just hammered home an otherwise great year of 6v6 multiplayer support. I just want to say once again, kudos to the devs this entire year. You've given us so many maps on top of already great maps at launch with the remastered Modern Warfare 2 stuff. Just an incredible post-launch support for both Warzone and the 6v6 multiplayer fans. I've complained time and time again about the lack of love for 6v6, and you guys knocked it out of the park this year. So for everything that I hate about Modern Warfare 3, I gotta say this is one thing I absolutely love. So that about sums it up for maps. Once again, we get one new one and 6 variations of other maps. Moving on, we have new modes that they're bringing. First off, and these are all kind of Halloween themed. This entire season will be Halloween themed, as you can tell. But first up is Horde Point, which again is just kind of hardpoint with zombies. It's been in a few past games. I think it started in World War II. So if you played that in the past, you'll know what to expect there. Next up is Arcade. Again, this is another returning mode that they just finally added to the game, where there's like increased jump. You can jump super high and use like a ground slam ability. There's power weapons around the maps, kind of reminiscent of old shooters like Halo, where, or the old school playlist, if you remember that from way back in COD 4. Next up is Mutation Mode. Now this, I read on this just a little bit. It seems like a new mode. It seems kind of like Infected, but it's one full team of humans and one full team of mutated. And the mutated team doesn't really get to pick their normal loadouts. They have like classes or different types of mutants, similar to like a Left 4 Dead multiplayer mode, if you remember that, where you had the different types of zombies you could spawn in as. It seems kind of like that. I didn't dive too deep into it because I probably won't play it if I'm being honest with you, but it seems interesting. It seems like they're trying some new things. And then finally, we just have Infected, which Obviously, it comes every year, and they've added it into Modern Warfare 3. Next up, we go to the rank side of things, and obviously, as is the case with every single new season that comes out, there's new rewards, your tier resets, stuff like that. There's all new rewards and skins and weapon camos and stuff, depending on how high you can climb during the season. Now, obviously, they then go on to talk about Warzone. Again, I'm not going to cover too much. I am going to touch very briefly on some of the stuff that, as I was scrolling through, kind of caught my eye. I don't play Warzone anymore, so none of this really matters to me. But I did notice that they are bringing some cool map variants for the the Warzone maps rather. So I know there's like a night version of, I think Vondel is the map, and then there's like a cool weird zombie version of the island map. Rebirth Island, I think they're calling it now. So that's really cool. And again, this just drives home the need. If we had that day-night weather dynamic cycle that I talked about earlier in Warzone, I think that's where it would really shine, because no two matches of an otherwise kind of repetitive battle royale mode would ever feel the same, right? You drop in and suddenly nighttime, that completely changes the map, as opposed to dropping in the early morning or the midday sun, stuff like that. And there's also Zombie Royale, which is coming back, which I remember a couple years ago when they did this. My friends and I hopped in, and we actually had a blast in that for a few nights. So as much as I hated Warzone at the time, that actually got me back into it for a bit, and I had fun. So who knows, maybe I'll slip in a match or two of that this season. Next up, they talk about the two new weapons that are being added to Modern Warfare 3. So these are the final two weapons being added to the overall meta. The incredibly bloated meta of Modern Warfare 3 that includes all of Modern Warfare 2's weapons as well. So we're getting two weapons. Both of them are just conventional, weapons. They're no melees or anything. The first of which is the DTIR 30-06. It is a battle rifle, obviously chambered in 30-06, as the name implies. It's kind of slow firing, hard hitting. It kind of reminds me of, like some of the guns in the past that were almost single fire, right, with how slow they fired, but they pack one or two hits, stuff like that. And I think I could be wrong, but I believe that this was the gun that I saw on Twitter earlier that several people have already found like a zero recoil, like I'm talking negative recoil. The gun does not even move when it is fired. Build that are up on Twitter. I'm assuming that'll be nerfed or changed around at least after a week or so, but seeming like a pretty good weapon to use. So I'll be interested to use it. Again, I'll probably use that in the private match video you guys see in the background. Next up, we have pretty interesting weapon here is the cast-off LSW, which is an LMG that does not really act like an LMG. It has a high fire rate, and it really excels in tac stance, so they really buffed its tac stance accuracy, and they said that it is built for short or medium range, and obviously to be used in tac stance, and it has a really fast reload speed for a light machine gun. So again, it's an LMG that kind of performs almost like an assault rifle or even a submachine gun at certain points, so that's really interesting. I really want to give this thing a spin because I love LMGs, but I kind of hate how clunky they are. So to be able to kind of get somewhere in the middle would be really cool. Now, obviously, next up, to kind of tie in with weapons, they always add a few aftermarket parts, which essentially completely change existing weapons to be almost new weapons. So, for all intents and purposes, these aftermarket parts are brand new weapons. We have the Jack Salvo, which turns the Cat AMR into an anti-materiel rocket. The Jack Voltstorm, which turns the Stormender launcher into like firing bolts of electricity that can hit multiple people. And then finally there's the Jack Lance, which sounds like a burst fire attachment almost for a shotgun for the MX Guardian. It almost reminds me of that Black Ops 2 shotgun, I think it was, that would fire like 4 rounds and then cycle, and then 4 rounds and then cycle. That's at least that's what I got from the description on the website. I could be wrong. And also says that the weapon almost like charges up while it's idle, and that whenever you fire it, when it's at max charge or max capacity or whatever, it will have more velocity and precision. So kind of like first couple of shots, after you haven't shot it in a while, are more accurate and go faster by the sounds of it. So that's pretty interesting. These aftermarket parts always bring something new to the table, that's for sure. And then pretty much the the meat and potatoes of this update is the skins, right? They have a bunch of crossovers with I think like 6 or 7, maybe even more different horror franchises like Smile and Scream and all those type of franchises. So they have different skins and operator skins and stuff tied with those franchises, and that's kind of what the entire battle pass is as well, and all the Black Cell stuff. It's all just Halloween and horror movie stuff. So yeah, that's pretty much it. Obviously, there is still a decent amount of 6v6 multiplayer stuff there, but you can tell the large majority of this, as it was last year, is mainly just a vehicle to sell licensed content, like all of the crossovers with all the horror franchises and movies and stuff like that, and the various recognizable characters from those movies. Finally, just some extra odds and ends that they tossed in as well. There will obviously be new weekly challenges, including like kind of a spooky Halloween camo that's animated for one of the weekly challenges. They did add in 4 more prestiges to bring the grand total to 25, which I think makes the max level like 1125 is the max level, I believe. They did add a new weapon prestige camo. So they've been doing this every season, right? It's just basically the amount of XP you can get on a weapon, but you do have to unlock the other ones first. And this one's called Constellation's End. And I'm not going to lie, it looks really cool, guys. Very cool looking. And if I had any sort of will to play this game that much to get that prestige camo, I definitely would chase after it for some of my favorite guns because it looks really cool. And it's a great kind of capstone, right? To the end of the game. This is the last camo they'll release for any of these weapons. If you truly want to show your love and affinity for a weapon, and your kind of, how long you've used it and played with it, definitely this is a great way to do so. And then finally, they did say that there's various Halloween-themed events throughout, where you'll complete various little objectives and stuff like that. A lot of these are centered around, as they have been in the past, you get more XP or more progress towards certain challenges if you're using that specific skin. So a way to push a little more sales in the skin shop, that's for sure. So that about wraps it up, guys. A nice, fairly quick video for you. I know sometimes I drone too long on these seasonal content, but it's kind of a short season. They're mostly gearing up for the release of Black Ops 6. This wasn't so much a love letter to Modern Warfare 3 for the past year as it was, at least the way it seems to me, just a way to sell a bunch of Halloween themed skins and kind of cash in on the time of year, the season that we're approaching here as we drift into fall. So yeah, overall kind of disappointed that some of the maps were kind of cannibalized to be used in Black Ops 6, and we'll go over that in my next video. And other than that, there's some very cool stuff in this season, just kind of lackluster and really just too heavily favored for the store. And that's about all I have to say on that. So enough about what I have to say on it. Let me know down in the comments section below what you guys thought about this content offering. Are you excited to play any of these maps, any of these modes, stuff like that in this newest season? And what were your thoughts on all 6 seasons? Kind of a general consensus for how the post-launch support for Modern Warfare 3 was. I think personally it was one of the best post-launch supported Call of Duties of all time. And really happy that Sledgehammer Games was able to give us a lot of content here over the last 12 months. So yeah, with that all out of the way, guys, once again, if you enjoyed the video, make sure to leave a like. And if you'd like to see more like this, please subscribe to the channel. And yeah, until next time, guys, you have a good one.